Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Self-Publishing Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Sutton, and I'm joined again for the second time with Dawn Marcotte. Dawn is the author, if you remember, of 15 books that she's published, and we're going to be talking more about that. Dawn, today, since I didn't ask you this the last time we talked, go ahead and tell us a little bit about, who you are, how you got started in entrepreneurship and stuff like that.
Sure, thanks. Well, I actually am a mom of two girls, and when they were younger, I was very passionate about the idea that they should not spend more than 30 minutes a day with their face in a screen. And this is long enough ago that I was just fighting against television and computers. They didn't even have smartphones to deal with yet. I was also a freelance writer, and I wrote it for something called Content Mills, where you'd write, 400 words on how to restore a Mustang. The whole idea was keyword stuffing these articles and they would pop to the top, right? Algorithm changed, that went away, but I still had this passion. And so I decided to take a leap of faith and write a book about it. And what I did is created a book with all kinds of activities and science and just all kinds of things to give parents ideas of what to do with their kids that didn't involve an electronic device. And lo and behold, it sold really well. So I was very excited that that worked and that I was able to help other parents. But that's really kind of what got me into it. It was a combination of that change in that algorithm. So that took away my freelance article writing and my passion around my kids.
Love it. I love that you started writing out of really a necessity for yourself.
Yes.
I'm sick of watching my kids sit in front of the TV. And like you said, now, here's my smartphone right here in front of me, and all this stuff. So I love that. And then, then you said, hey, this can probably solve problems for other parents as well.
Yeah.
What did it feel like when you started getting those sales rolling in,
Oh, it was fantastic. I had never published anything before, and you see, and I published on Amazon, and you see other people with books and things on Amazon, and you think that, or at least I did, they're special somehow. And so when I published mine on Amazon and people actually started buying it and leaving reviews, I was like, oh, wow, it was just amazing. I was so excited to see what people said. And even when they let bad reviews, I didn't care. It was somebody talking about my book. And it was just so exciting to realize that the other people really aren't any more special than I am. I can do this too and be successful at it. And that just opened up a whole new world of opportunities for me.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing when I talk to people about writing and self-publishing books is, you don't have to be somebody special or well-known. I mean, we're all special, but you don't have to be, a Russell Brunson or, John Lee Dumas or whoever, those are just people I listen to a lot, but anybody can write a book and self-publish.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that realization that you had because it's so important to say, hey, I can do this. If other people did it, why not me?
Exactly.
Yeah. So so you've written all these books.
Yes, I did.
You're doing these content mills, SEO and all that stuff kind of went down and wasn't what it used to be and wasn't how it was in the beginning. And you're doing all this stuff. So how has that helped you grow businesses or grow your brand?
Well, so I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur, I guess maybe is the right term for it. I started with The App Age. That was my first book to help parents, right? But my kids do what kids do. They grew up. So I wasn't really in that world anymore, and I didn't feel connected to that world. So I kind of set that business aside. At that time, I'd had a website and I was, the book and all kinds of things. And at that time, my oldest was in high school and she happens to be special needs, and we were starting to think college. So that was my next thing. Oh my gosh. How do parents of children with special needs find colleges where their kids can be successful? So again, did the research, built an audience, wrote a book, sold the book. That's just kind of been the pattern over and over, but it's a different passion every time I do it. So, the next one was I got a little older, you get to be a certain age and losing weight just doesn't happen anymore. And so that was very frustrating to me. And again, did the research, wrote a book, published the book, same thing over and over and over again. So it's something that works well for my personality. I'm kind of an introvert. I love doing research. That's the one thing that doing the content mill really taught me, was how to do effective online research and find good resources, not Wikipedia or whatever, actual resources. So that was one thing that I learned and helped me in writing my books after that. So yeah, it's really allowed me to not get stuck in that. I'm just going to use this for an example. I'm a coach. I have to stick with coaching. I can't do anything else.
Right.
I've been able to just follow my passions. And if it goes this way, then I follow it this way. And if it goes that way, then we'll take a turn and we'll go that way. And it hasn't tied me down to anything. I really like that, because I've still learned a lot about how to do an online business, how to do marketing, how to create an offer, all those different things that everybody who's online is always struggling or trying to learn. I have learned along the way, but still stuck to my, find a passion, build an audience, write a book process.
Yeah. Ooh, you just said something that's really cool. So I think it's Pat Flynn. No, yes. I take that back.
One
it's
of my favorite people.
Yeah, Pat Flynn's amazing. He is going to be on this podcast. You heard it here first. I promise
really?
You. Well, eventually I'm going to ask him.
Okay,
right. Anyway, but yeah, I'm naming it right now. So, but it was Ryan Levesque actually who did this. He said he started all these businesses where he would just learn about something, start a business, grow it, make it successful, sell it, start another business. It's like his first several businesses, he really didn't have a whole lot of knowledge in what he was doing. He was just seeing what other people needed, learned all about it. So I love that thought process of, hey, it doesn't always have to be something that you're passionate about. Maybe you're just passionate about starting a business. Or
I love it. Absolutely love it. All the challenges and all the planning and for whatever reason, I just really enjoy that whole process. But once it gets up and running, it gets a little boring. I'll be honest. I'm not someone who likes to do the same thing day after day after day. I like different things every day. And so and I'm also a big fan of automation. That's the other thing. I like to have a business that I can scale up or scale down depending on whatever is going on in the rest of my world. And so once you've got that fully automated system going, it's kind of like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Talk about this. You said something super interesting to me. You know where to find resources online. So
yes, I do.
Tell me, spill the beans.
Okay. So I'm going to give you the super secret way to find things online. And it's all about the format of how you type it into the Google search bar. And I don't know that this works for any other search. So if you use Yahoo or Bing or whatever, I don't know if this works. But on Google, the idea is that little .com at the end of most or a lot of websites. What that means is that's a commercial website. Somebody's using that for a business or to sell something, whatever. It's commercial. But if you have a .edu, that's an education website.
Sure.
A .gov is government. .org is an org, right? So there's a certain ranking for factual information. If you look on a .gov or a .edu, those are going to be highly factual, well-researched articles, information. So in order to find those, you don't want to have to go paging through all of this information if you type in a search, right? So what you do is you type in whatever you're searching for. We'll say coaches, education. Anyway, you type that in and then you put a colon, you put a dot, and then you put either edu or gov, whatever ending that you're looking for. And when you do that, it will pull up just those sites, just the education sites or just the government sites. So those are the two top places to go to find information. .org or okay, but again, those are organizations, usually nonprofits. So they can be factual, but they don't necessarily fact check as well as a government or an education is going to do. So that's how I do my research, is I check those education or those government websites. And a lot of times, especially the education, will link to where they got their information. So it's like following breadcrumbs to get to the original article or the original study. So that's my tip.
Ooh, that's a great tip. That's like a knowledge bomb times 1,000 right there, Dawn.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, listen. She said coaches:.edu, coaches:.gov. And, if we're looking for Mustangs, you said Mustangs earlier. We just put Mustangs.
Yes, I wrote Mustang. Yes, I wrote a 400-word article on how to restore a Mustang. I love muscle cars, so that's the one that sticks in my brain. I mean, I literally wrote thousands of articles, but that's the one that just stuck in my brain because I'm like, really? No, not in 400 words.
That's so funny.
But
yeah,
anyway,
I love 1970 Mach 1 Mustang is my all-time favorite car, followed by a 57
nice.
Chevy. So anyway, so I don't have any loyalty to Ford or Chevy, just saying. So follow the breadcrumbs, get to the resources that the edu or the .gov sites found them. And is it pretty common to be able to find articles and you're not having to pay and all that stuff?
It really is. Most everything is free. The hardest part really is reading through it because a lot of these articles are not written for the public. They're not written for you and me to read in the way that we would something on Facebook or something like that. There's a certain style where it's easy to read. These tend to be like reading a textbook. If you remember in school, some of those textbooks were pretty dry and not a lot of fun to read. So that's probably the most difficult thing, is to actually read through the articles and understand what they're saying. And yeah, they can be real snoozers sometimes, to be honest. But
that's okay. We're just getting the information. We just want that
exactly. That's what it is. And a lot of times, actually, what will happen is other people will have read through the article, like U.S. News and World Report will refer to that article, things like that. So if you want to take a shortcut, sometimes you can do that if there's a Forbes or if it's a reputable organization that has summarized that, you can probably trust that. Yeah. It depends on what you're doing for it or with it. You want to make sure that if you're publishing something that somebody's going to refer to, you want to make sure you check your facts. Yes, but if it's just a reference for a book and you're going to refer, put a link to the original article and somebody else can go read it, then maybe you don't need to worry about it quite as much.
Yeah. Please make sure it's factual.
Yes.
Especially in this day and age. Somebody's going to check it.
Exactly. Somebody will, and they will call you on it too.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think has been, I know we already talked about it in the earlier podcast, what was the most rewarding thing and surprising and all that stuff. But what have you really seen the book do for your life and your business?
Well, I've learned so much and I've really gotten to interact with a lot of different people. My most recent book that I wrote, or just finished writing, I should say, it's coming out in June of this year. I actually interviewed a bunch, 20 plus entrepreneurs, and it was so much fun to talk to other entrepreneurs and really dig into what they do and why they do and their whole business process and everything. That's not something I'd done before. And I never would have met any of these people. And there were people that have been in business for 35 plus years, as well as, newer people. And I got my coach to participate too. So that was a big win for me. But it was just amazing just to hear all the different stories of why did they choose that particular business? Why did they choose to do that particular thing? And I just find that amazing.
Yeah, I love that. This is my fourth podcast that I've done in the last, 4 years. I'm averaging one podcast a year. This is my fourth podcast and I've done over, 200 interviews and it's exactly what you said. You get to meet so many amazing people that you would have never met. I've been able to talk to, people like John Lee Dumas, Steve Larson, Marley Jacks, all these amazing people that I've been able to talk to. And like I said, it would have never happened had I not written a book and started a podcast and all that kind of stuff. Talk about this. You said you had a coach that's part of your new book that's released. How important has that been for your writing process?
Life-changing. It really has. She has helped me get out of my head because I wrote the book, or what I thought was going to be the book. And she said, well, what do other people think about this? And I thought, I don't know. And she said, and she's the one that suggested that I go and interview people. And I thought, really, can I do that? Am I allowed? Because I had never, I don't know. I have this vision in my head that when you interview people, it's like Dan Rather or Oprah Winfrey. Those are the people who interview other people.
Right.
Not me. and no, you can do this too. So I did. And it was absolutely amazing. I never would have done that without her. And she's been able to read through the book and go, I think that should go over here. And I think you need to expand on this more. So she's just been super helpful in getting me outside of my own head and really think about the book and who's going to be reading the book and what do they need and what do they want to hear about. And that's really what it's all about, is serving other people, helping other people. That's one of the reasons that I do this, is because I want to help other people learn or figure out whatever it is that they're struggling with in their lives.
Yeah, I love that. I love when people talk about serving, because I think really life is about serving others. And, I love what Zig Ziglar says about, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll be able to get what you want out of life. I truly believe that. And it doesn't always mean it's a monetary thing. It's it's happiness and things like that. So I love servant leadership and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to ask you is, I'd love for you to give us 3 to 5 tips for people that are, writing a book, thinking about writing a book, have written a book, whatever your best 3 to 5 tips.
Best 3 tips. Okay. Number 1, get a professional cover done. Yes. I did not do that until this book, and it is hugely impactful and important to do that, because there are so many people who are just slapping some words together and putting it out on Amazon and hoping for the best, that it has, I think, made it less, people a little more wary about buying a book that just doesn't look professional. They're not sure what they're going to get, right? But if you have a professional cover, it is far more likely that people will buy it, because it will be obvious that you have put not only time and energy, but put some money into it too. You've invested in it to make it the best that you can be. So that's probably the number 1. Number 2 is have it professionally edited. Same thing. I can't tell you how many books I have bought because somebody offered a freebie, even where it was obviously not edited, and the misspellings, the grammar's bad, whatever, right? I'm not going to do business with them if they can't even get a sentence right. That's harsh, but it's true. And maybe that's because I'm a writer and I notice those things, but you really do not come across as a professional when you don't take the time to get it edited and make sure everything is ticked and tied and looks really nice. Yeah. And then the last thing is to have someone else read it before you publish it. Yeah. Whether it's, significant other, a coach, whoever, just another set of eyes on it to read through it and give you a little bit of feedback on it.
Yeah, I love that. I think someone told me one time to have an alpha reader, where you give it to 1 or 2 people.
Exactly.
And then have a beta reader where you give it to maybe 3 people and then go on. And I love that idea. I like it what you said about professional editing. I want to bring out one thing. Is I used to read this author, Patrick F. McManus. He used to write for Field and Stream. He's an outdoor humor writer. Absolutely love him. Maybe I'll try to get him on the podcast one day. He's been going for a long time. But anyway, I was reading one of his books and he wrote humor and then he changed to mystery humor. And I remember reading it. This was in college. So almost, 15 years ago. And I'm flipping through pages and I found a typo and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy has a typo.
Right.
And now it's there's going to be a mistake in your book. And so what Dawn is saying, and I want to bring this out for people because I think it's very important. You're probably not going to put out a 100% perfect book. There's going to be an error somewhere, even when you have proofreaders and editors and beta and alpha readers, but don't be just so blatantly obvious of no grammar, no punctuation, nothing makes sense. Cause I'm not going to do business with you either, Dawn. It has to look professional if you are a professional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, I'll be honest, this is the first book that I've gone through all of those steps on. So I'm really excited about what it's going to look like and how awesome it's going to be. I feel like the others The others I did okay, and it was fine. Because I'd already built an audience. I already had people who were interested in the book anyway. So, and they had interacted with me and built relationships, whether it's Facebook groups or whatever, right? They already knew me. And so that was okay. But if you're going to try and sell to lots and lots of people, like, I don't know, get on the bestseller list, for example, you got to do it right. You got to do it as professionally as possible.
Yeah. What's the name of your new book coming out?
It's called Success Guaranteed: 9 Lies Online Entrepreneurs Need to Know.
Okay. I thought it was going to be 9 Lies Online Entrepreneurs Tell People.
No. Well, okay, some of them are, but not all 9.
Okay, good. Perfect. And when's that going to come out?
Right now we're on schedule to publish in June.
Okay, perfect. Let us know and we'll promote the heck out of that thing.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Get people, because I think maybe, am I in that book?
You are in that book. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, I should have said that you are one of the people that I interviewed and you are in the book. So I'm very excited about that.
I am too. I'm excited. Dawn, once again, thank you for jumping on a second time with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I think I say that to every single person, but it is. I love talking to people. I love learning about your life and your business and careers and books and everything. So again, thank you so much for coming on. And you can find Dawn at dm-consultingllc.com. Dawn, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe. For more inspiring conversations like this one, I invite you to join my free Facebook group, Book Boss Tribe. If you're ready to write your book, I want to invite you to book a free call with me or sign up for my free course. You can get both of those at linktree/bookboss.